Hi guys, welcome to the first ever HOWSCHMOEDRAWS as video tutorial. So my topic is environmental interaction. In this case, sitting on a chair, sitting on things. And just to start off, I really recommend you starting off with the environment. It doesn't have to be detailed, it doesn't have to be the whole room, just have the environment you want to place your character in already sort of sketched out and sort of the perspective right, just because if you have the perspective of the object, the perspective of the character is obvious and you will do it automatically. You will sort of give the character the perspective of the object. And I often find that if you don't do this, you sort of just don't have a perspective in mind, and then it just usually becomes really flat, and you don't sort of you just don't think about it. And this way you have to think about it. And it really is easier this way. Sort of just, if you don't want to draw the environment, just take a picture of your chair, just do photos and draw a character in there. That is a totally good exercise as well. But yeah, so you have your environment, and then start off with the point, that's what I did here, where the character is touching the object, the chair. I started off with the bum because that's where I wanted to position the character, and I was sort of still figuring out what I actually wanted to do. I didn't have a reference for this pose. I was sort of building the pose as I go along. But don't start with the head and then work your way down, because you'll never know where you'll hit the chair. That way, it's far easier to sort of start in the middle, like with the body, the torso. The torso is also the core of the pose. If you sort of, the way you bend the torso will make the pose. So I always find it helpful to start off with the torso and then add all the limbs and the head, obviously, to that. And but yes, it's just the best working point to work from. So in this pose, I was sort of working the pose out. This is a bit of a warm-up. You can imagine me drawing the character here by, as if it were a wooden, these wooden figures for posing stuff, like arranging the joints and the limbs in between, always figuring out how everything goes together, and always keeping the volumes in mind. And I know that when you do this, it can turn out a bit stiff. If you're constructing stuff, don't make it tubes and balls. Just sort of keep it like in the human shape, sort of a bit squashy and flowing, and then that's a good construction of a character. It doesn't help to be too precise because then it usually becomes very stiff. It's always a mix between this construction and sort of knowing how the body should be shaped and squashes it with the right parts and everything. So I really recommend doing some live drawing for posing and everything, because then you've sort of drawn a leg in perspective and know how the shape should look. So it's always a mix of constructing something and knowing the body, because it's pretty hard. I mean, it's possible, but it will be way livelier if you've had some experience in live drawing. You don't have to always go to the live drawing classes. There's lots that you can practice from photographs, or from, like on YouTube, there are these live drawing sessions where the characters pose just as if you were in real life, stuff like that. So I really recommend that. So finding poses, I'm trying to find different poses with the chair. So it's always the same approach. Figure out how your torso is bent, the object, and then work your way from there and always keep the volume of the object underneath in mind, sort of fold your character around it. And if you don't really know which way a limb is posing, really, because I mean we're working in 2D here, but it always then helps to draw these construction lines, these volume lines, which you see me drawing. I always do that when I'm not completely sure which way something is really facing. Sort of then I can imagine the volumes far better and know how the connection is between like the upper leg and the lower leg with the joint in between. So yes, I find that really helpful. And last but not least, when you sort of, first I always have the stage of posing the character and sort of just adding joints and limbs, but then I start doing a sketch on top of that really rough sketch underneath, which just was figuring out the pose, where I figure out the volumes. And when figuring out the volumes, and you have these touching points, like with the arm on the chair, at the point where the arm rests on the chair's back, obviously there where it touches it, it squishes, and the rest is hanging through because flesh is soft. So once you add stuff like that, also where the bottom touches the seat, there it flattens out because it's softer. Adding stuff like this gives the character real reality. And yes, keep stuff like that in mind as well when you draw. And yes, what is also helpful when you do the volumes is that you know how to fit the clothes on top of that, because obviously when you've drawn the lines, you know how the sleeves should fold around the arm as well. So key to drawing characters is to know their volumes. So, and at last I would like to show you the construction of some of my pictures, and to see how wonky to a degree it is as well. So yeah, in this one so Remus is pretty okay, but I started off by drawing the top half of the characters, and Yo-Yo actually turned out pretty short. The chair is far too small because I didn't draw the table properly, so it would have helped if I had have done a rough sketch of the background, a bit more detailed, and sort of constructed the characters better. So, and what's happening to that leg, I don't know, but in this case it would have really helped to sort of be a bit more precise, but it doesn't really matter. It's a sketch, but nevertheless, that was quite a mistake. So, next image. Pretty obvious perspective because of the wooden planking, but still I sort of emphasized that. And here you can again see the characters follow the perspective of the bridge. Again, I think I started there with the character touching the bridge, and then worked my way up how I wanted to have them connect. In this case, I sort of feel that the faces were a bit wonky, but then again, it's both of them, mine and Remus's, but it's just a sketch, so that's totally fine. I always see these sketches it's always good just to get something finished and learn from the mistakes. I always look at this and see the mistakes, so yeah. So here, just to show you the construction of the sofa as well. I wasn't quite sure how the sofa was constructed until I remembered, oh yes, the top part where you lean on is shorter than the rest of the couch. But yeah, so here Remus's body lying in the perspective of the couch, and you can see the volume of it, and it following the volume of also the perspective of the couch. And Yo-Yo construction, I think of his head. I'm not happy with his head, actually. The face is too big and the back of the head is too small, but that's just a minor detail. But here again, it helps to also draw the parts of the bodies which aren't visible, sort of that even if you don't draw them, just trace them with your pencil so you know where the hand joins the line, like in this case with the arm behind Remus's legs. It's really good to know that the arm is there. And here is, I didn't construct it really well either, you can see that, because if I follow my construction lines here, I see that I made a mistake with the sleeve of Yo-Yo's arm. It should have been facing not like downward but upward, because the perspective makes that much more sense if you are sort of, the arm is coming a bit toward us and not facing away. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. My sitting on things. Let me know if there's anything I should elaborate on, or if I should do something differently the next time. I have ideas of how I can do stuff differently. I really find it difficult to sort of draw and then not make. I should maybe make notes while drawing to myself, or actually talk while drawing. But then I don't know if that doesn't slow the drawing speed down really a lot. But I think I will try that the next time as well. So yes, let me get into my stride. I hope these tutorials will get better in the end. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.